Hi everyone, welcome back. So we're going to do part 2 today of the prayer journal. We're going to put our envelopes together. So if you've gathered your envelopes, I'll show you the best way I can to put them together. I'm using some recycled envelopes. The main thing you want to do is to make sure that they're the same width. If they're not the same height, we can always trim them to make the same height. So if you have a bunch of envelopes, like I didn't have many that are the height I wanted. Some were taller, so I will trim those. Also, if you remember in my prayer journal, I had an envelope with a window to create this. So if you have an envelope with a window, we'll create that, okay? Now, you'll probably see some of my envelopes have windows in them. We're just going to cover those up. I'm not going to worry about those windows. I mean, you can use them and make them windows, you know, pockets and things, but for this purpose, we're going to just kind of mimic the one that I did. All right, so, and you know, I hope I don't confuse you. So here's my smaller one. That is the front here, this one here. The rest uses the other 5, okay? Now, I'll just put this top one aside here. Leave this in here for you to see. So, gather your envelopes. And I try to mark them the best I can. Okay, so I want to, let's see here. I had them together, and now I got them messed up. Okay, so I'm using, this is my front one right here. This is going to be here, okay? I'm not worried about this opening here. I'm covering it up. So the first thing you want to do is take your first envelope, not the small one that's going to go on here, but the next one, and we're going to open it up to here. And I wrote a number 2 on here, so we're going to connect number 2 envelope over here. So the next envelope is just another envelope, and we'll trim it once we get them all together. And I wrote a number 2 here. We want the opening here. I wrote open here. We want to keep that opening for a pocket, okay? So we're going to take an envelope, number 1 envelope here, and to the flap here, we're going to glue this envelope here, right inside here, lining up the bottom here, okay? So we can just put some glue on this flap here. We're going to close that up here. So that's our first. We're going to line it up here. And once you get it lined up, close it. Make sure the bottom, don't worry about the top, we can trim that off. That's connected there. Okay, now next one, we're going to leave that open because that's going to be a pocket. Number 3, we're going to put number 3 envelope connected here. So I wrote this down. Okay, here's another envelope. Disregard this opening here. We're going to make another pocket. So I have number 3. We're going to connect number 3 to the flap here. So go ahead and put glue on your flap. Okay. Once again, glue it to the flap. Line it up to the bottom. You want to close it just to make sure. It's lined up. Let's see, I got a little bit too low on mine. It doesn't have to be perfect, believe me. Once it starts getting chunky, you're not going to notice at all. So I'm going to leave that because that got stuck there. Okay, so we have 1 to 2, 2 to 3. We're going to have an opening here, and I wrote a number 4 here. So the next envelope will be the one with the little window, or any size window. If you have an envelope with a big window, we're going to, whatever envelope you have, okay, it doesn't even matter. So, but here's my number 4 envelope. So I am going to glue number 4 here. All right, give me 1 minute here. Let me make sure. Okay, open, yeah, okay. So that's that. I was just trying to, I think what I did was I slit that envelope on top to, let's see, yeah, okay, before we glue number 4 here, this window here that we're going to create, this here, I know what I did. I took an image and glued it on the inside there first. So let's find the image. Now you can use any image. I think I used this one here. This one, any image from your digitals, whatever you're using. So let me just cut this out of here. This one this was one of the images I got off Pinterest. But you can use any image from your digital kit or anything that you find on the graphics for your Pinterest. So let me just cut some excess off. Yes, and so before we do that, we're going to position this and glue this while we can get our hands on the inside of the envelope here. Okay, let's just make sure that's going to work. See? So once you get it positioned, and like I said, if you have a bigger opening, then you have a bigger image to put in there. Now, I know this, I remember, it just wasn't as tall as I wanted it. So what I did is I took some of my vintage photo. Let me get a piece of paper here. 1 second. Okay. Just getting some paper here too. I know you could see a little bit of the top here, so I wanted to just cover up some of the white up there, because my image is just somehow quite not tall enough. That's all. Okay. So now I want to position it in there just to see where it needs to go, where exactly I want it. And we're gonna, once we rip the paper, you're not gonna see the actual opening here. So once you get that in there, it's a little tricky, but it's not bad. Did I get that there? Okay. Okay, it's exactly where I want it. So the only thing I'm going to do is lift it up, put a little glue in there to hold it in there. Okay. And then, now this doesn't have like a cellophane over the window, so that's why I'm able to get in there with this. If you have a bigger window with a cellophane, you could take the cellophane part off or leave it on, whatever you can do. There, so I've got my image in there, okay? So that's going to be for here, okay? All right, so now that that's in there, I wrote number 4 to number 4. We're going to glue it to this flap here. And like I said, we're going to even this off, cut the top parts off. So I'm just going to put some glue on the back of this envelope here, so I don't go past there. Okay, line it up again. And make sure it's lined up on the bottom the best you can. Let me make sure, because then if you don't get it lined up, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to get it as lined up the best you can, otherwise it gets a little wonky. Okay. All right, so we have one envelope, this is number 1 envelope. Well, actually, this is number 1 envelope. We'll connect that too. So 1 to 1 is, we're going to connect that last. Then we put 2 on a flap, so 2 envelope to the flap here, 3 to 3, 4 to 4. And now we're going to do the last envelope, which is the one we just put the image in. Got the flap up here. So we're going to do, and we're disregarding this flap. This is a, oh, I'm going to close this envelope up. We don't need this envelope open, the last one. So you could just close it up. These are a little confusing, even for me, that I've done a few already. So we just have a closed up envelope. This envelope is open here. So we're going to glue 5 to 5, okay? So I'll just put it on here. And once you get this down, and you like it, I would suggest to make a few for yourself to have on hand once you get it in your head on how to make it. That's usually what I do. I make a few of these, keep them to the side in different sizes. There's, you know, you can add more envelopes, you can add, you know, you can really make these bigger or smaller, anything. Okay, here we go. So let's fold this up here. Okay, so we have, and we're disregarding this opening as well. Now I have my top envelope, you can see here, opening that way. So I'm going to glue it on here with the flap. I don't want to glue it in the middle. You can do whatever you want. I like to glue mine like a little bit down like that. So I'm going to position it where I want it. Then I'm going to open it up, open the flap, and then I'm going to glue that on. Okay, now, so there's our front, and we're going to accordion fold it like that. Now, because this is my size that I want this top envelope, I'm going to trim along this edge and trim these tall ones off. So I'm going to get my cutter out. I might have to go through one at a time. Let's see how my cutter does here. Line this up. Okay. Let's see what I can do. I think it cut through everything here. Okay. So now now I've got the size I need. And it's not perfect on the bottom, but you know what? Once you get it all together and it starts getting a little chunky, you're not going to know the difference. You're not going to notice that little bit on the bottom. Okay, so let's compare. I'll show you here. Okay, so we have our flap, front flap here, right? Okay. Then when you open it up, we have our first envelope here. And that's, even though this is open, we're going to make it a plain page here, okay? We're going to make, okay, and this is the signature, so we won't pay attention to the signature yet. This is our envelope here, and this is an opening, so we're going to bring the paper to the end, and it's going to be an opening for our, one of our tags, okay? The next one, we fold over, and we're going to seal it on the top there. That's going to be an opening for the tag that we're going to put in there. Here's our page with the window. Then we turn it over. This is going to be the back here, the back. Then we're going to flip it this way. We'll cover this here. Here's this is another signature here, so let me get past the signature. This is open right now, but we're going to close that up. So let's close this up right here. We're going to cover it with paper, so you could just stick a little bit of glue in there to close that up. You could leave it open if you want to use it for a tuck. That's up to you. But I'm just doing it the way I made this one. So we close that up. This is going to be, well, we'll cover that up. This is this page here. Here's the next signature. There's 3 of them in there. So this page here will be here. And then we're back to the front. Okay? So I hope that wasn't too confusing for you. It is for me. It took me a while to try to get this down. So, okay, now, let's see, the next thing we're going to do is make sure we have openings for, now, our pockets. So this little envelope I made into a pocket and put a tag in there. So what I need to do is just slit this open. Now you could just take your scissors and just gently, you know, like just not gently, but I mean just ever so slightly trim that open. If I can see what I'm doing here. Just take off the tiniest sliver just to open that. Of course, it doesn't want to cooperate with me on the camera, right? So let's see. I know I got it started. There we go. We want that open. Okay. So we're going to trim that off, make sure I opened it. Okay. Guess I didn't open it as well as I thought I did. Okay. There we go. So that's going to be our tuck there. Now because I opened that up, and I just want to glue this little flap down here, just a little bit on the end here. Okay, so to make that stay there. So it's still going to be our tuck, you know, our pocket here. Okay. All right, so that's that one. We have that open for there. Now the next thing we need, let me get past the signature. Okay, we have this one. Sorry. Okay, so we have, this will be covered totally here. Okay, here's the signature. This one will be open this way, so we don't need it open on the top. So just take some glue and run it along the top here to close that up, like that. So we're going to use it as a side pocket, not a top pocket. And since I had to trim off the top, that's why it was open. So we got that glued down. Okay, that's a side pocket here. This one here is also going to be a side pocket, so we need to just secure the top here. So once again, just put a little bit of glue along the top here and close that one down here. So that's our side one here. Okay. This is fine the way this is to the back. And now the back one should be open, or because I had to trim it here. So if it's not open for you, the very back envelope here, the very back one, give it a trim. Just slit it open so it's a tuck here, because the back envelope will be a tuck for a big tag in the back, okay? So that's that. All right, and then open it. We'll cover that. Let me get past the signature here. We'll cover that. That's this page here. That's fine. This one here we'll cover, and then we'll make a pocket on top here. And then past the third signature, this is we'll cover that here. And then there we are to the front. Okay, hope we got that right. I hope I explained that okay to you. Let's see how we're doing on time. So once again, get all your digitals ready. See what image you would like to put on your first pocket here, this one here. I love this image here of Mary. This was from, this image is from the digital La Lumiere de la Foy from Vintage Scraps Craft. That's Karen's shop right there. So let me get this out. Now, another thing is, I use a tear ruler, okay? Let me just reach over, sorry. Get my tear ruler here. I have one of these here. If you don't like the torn edge look, then you can cut with your cutter or scissors. But I kind of like the torn edge look. I do. I like that. And then I like to ink. You don't have to ink if you're not an inker. Don't ink. Also, if you notice, I didn't sew anything in here. I didn't even want to sew. I didn't think it needed it because it's pretty just as it is. So what I did was got the image that I wanted to use. And I did cover the whole front of that envelope, so I'm just going to kind of give it a look here. Take some of this off here. So that would be the first thing to do. And I was just kind of measuring it here, how much I wanted. Okay. The other thing, if you want, if you're an inker, if you want, you can go ahead and ink all edges around now, if you want to do that. I didn't on my first one. I just inked as I went. But I did ink my papers before I glued them on and then inked around. So obviously this is a little big. So I need to just trim some of this off. Let me get that. Let's see how that goes on here. Okay. I don't mind with my ripped edge to just slightly hang over the sides, and that looks pretty good to me. So let's get that. See how that looks. I could take a little bit off the side here, just ever so slight. And I think we're going to be good with that. Better leave it closed and glue it on. I'll just give it a little quick ink here. So yeah, I usually just ink as I go. I hope everyone's having a good day. Yeah, it takes a while to make one of these. It's not something quick. And you want to enjoy the process too. So I don't know how many parts this is going to be, but as many as it takes, we will work on it. Okay. All right, I'm ready to glue this on. It'll be fun as you see your little journal come together. It's kind of nice to see. So make sure, you know, think about your first image, what you would like on your first, you know, to look at always. Okay, let me just turn it over and make sure I have it on straight here. Okay, before the glue sets. There we go. And there she is, all in her glory. Okay. So we have that glued on, and that is our top loading pocket. I don't want to put a notch because I didn't want to notch into this, so I don't think we don't need it. It's not necessary. So there's the first thing. And then the next thing would be to cover the back and make our pocket. So you're going to pick a paper that you just want to cover the back. We're going to not, you can leave this open if you want to leave this open for a pocket, go right ahead. You would just cover it to here and leave the opening. You'd have to cover this area. But I'm going to make the pocket to hold all the little intention cards, the holy cards. So look for your paper of what you want to put on the back, and we're going to just do the same as we did on the front. Cut a piece or tear a piece that's the exact same size of this back, and then we're going to glue that on. Okay, so this is going to be we'll do this, start this up again in the next part, and then I'll be back shortly and we'll continue on. Okay, thanks for joining me. Bye.